Leitner puts it up.
You're listening to the Culture State Podcast.
Get ready. Woo!
Welcome back to the best podcast you're going to listen to all week. It is the Culture State Podcast right here on the Capital Broadcasting Podcast Network, or on YouTube, or on WRAL Sports Plus, because we give the people what they want. We're all over the place. This week, we have Ivory Latta. I'm your host, Chris Lee, and that is my man, Dennis Jamel Cox. What's up, Dennis?
Living that dream, man, just one day at a time. What can I say? But yeah, Ivory Latta, one of the best women's basketball players to come out of the University of North Carolina. And here's the thing. We often talk about the men's history when it comes to UNC basketball. The women's history, just as deep. And like the talent of players and the people that come through, it's stacked. It is absolutely stacked. And Ivory Latta is one of the best ones to ever do it. And I will say it is sad that she came from South Carolina, but she did her work in the state of North Carolina.
Well, you know, we'll get into that with her in this conversation, but it sounds like South Carolina didn't do enough work to keep her in the state.
Shocking.
But we'll let you guys listen to that in this episode. But yes, no, it was great having her on here. Not only is she one of the best players that ever has stepped foot on a basketball court for the University of North Carolina, men's or women's basketball, right? But I'm going to go out there and say this. This was one of the best interviews that we've had on Culture State. And it was kind of unexpected. Not that I thought that she wouldn't be, but a lot of times some of the best interviews come from people that you would expect it to come from, or from people that we've had a prior relationship with, right? We don't have a prior relationship with Ivory Latta. This was both of our first time talking to her in an interview setting. You know, of course, I spoke to her beforehand, setting everything up. But, you know, it wasn't, you know, a lot there. And so this ended up being a great interview. We had great insight on what was going on with her in college, after college. And then also, like, she's kind of hilarious, too, at the same time.
Yeah, she really is.
And so this
really
is going to be a pretty good episode as far as keeping you informed, but also you're going to have a few laughs along the way, too.
All right, let's not wait further. Ivory Latta.
All right, this interview is a pleasure to have right here. If you are familiar with anything dealing with UNC women's basketball, this is one of the best players to ever play with UNC women's basketball. Of course, two-time WNBA All-Star, ACC Player of the Year, 2006, jersey number retired. When you have those type of accolades, you know you're really a baller on the court. Welcome, Ivory Latta. First off, I gotta ask you, like, since you left the bench over at Carolina, you know, being assistant coach, what's your life been like? You still in coaching? What have you been doing since then?
Oh, man, I've just been maxing and relaxing. Pretty much it's just enjoying myself, enjoying life, enjoying my nephews. They're into sports, so I'm able to go to their games and, you know, just really enjoy this family time.
So what's life been like for you post-playing career? In terms
life has been great. It's been great. It's actually I still get up, work out 5-6 times a week. Only thing is I'm just not actually out there on the court, but I still do the same workout. So it's been going pretty well. You know, no complaints on this end.
Since you're still doing those workouts, you have you considered making a little comeback, or seeing if you can still give some people that work on the court?
Most likely staying in shape. Yeah, that's, you know, staying in shape, keeping my body healthy, me staying healthy, but it's definitely a mental thing. Playing in the league 11 years, always getting up, going to practice, working out. So it's like my body's still in somewhat game mode. So I just have to keep it going and definitely stay in shape.
You being a South Carolina native, you came to North Carolina. What was it so attractive about the Tar Heels that made you want to come up there and play for that? Because I know you had your pick of the litter coming out of high school.
It's a crazy story, because some people still give me a little mouth about it, like, how you go to North Carolina and you from South Carolina? Well, the story is that never came out is North Carolina been recruiting me since I don't even know when. But what the crazy thing is, you know, growing up, you know, playing in high school, junior high, we would always go to South Carolina basketball camp. So I'm like, well, shoot, I always wanted to go to South Carolina, but I went to the state championship 2 years in a row, won one, lost one, and still did get offered a scholarship to the University of South Carolina. So that was a big, like, slap in the face. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know what? I'm going to go somewhere where the coaches, they seem like they love me. They want me to be a part of their program. And she did not have a problem with my height, which was a great thing. And it's just like, y'all want to give me slack for something that pretty much was out of my control, but I controlled it at the end and went to the best possible school that, you know, pretty much in the nation at the time. Absolutely.
So I'm curious, what was the conversations like when you were being recruited to UNC? What was it about UNC that stood out to you by Coach Sylvia Hatchell?
I think more of just the tradition that they had there. But then again, growing up, my father, I mean, I was watching Allen Iverson, Vince Carter. I was watching Michael Jordan. So it's just like my brothers, that's all they talk about was MJ. And, hey, where do you go? UNC. So it was like it was already instilled in me. But, you know, as a little child, when you go places over and over, you be like, oh, I want to do that. So I was going to South Carolina's camp. And it's like, well, I'm going to South Carolina. I know y'all like North Carolina and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, they don't seem like they're interested in me. And speaking of Coach Hatchell, she was just telling me, like, pretty much how the sky's the limit. You know, coming there, being able to play, great crowd, great tradition, and just, you know, the coaching staff, everybody. I mean, when I literally tell you, everybody made me feel like I was literally at home. It was like a home feeling. Even on my visit, it was amazing. And I was just like, after that visit, I looked at my dad. My mom was like, you can stop answering the phone because I'm going to North Carolina.
You mentioned Coach Hatchell. She definitely has a great eye for talent. I mean, she was able to get you from South Carolina, which is dope. And then, of course, a lot of other great players that have come through North Carolina under her. And you also mentioned your height. And your book is called Despite the Height as well. You're listed at 5'6". I've never met you in person. Is 5'6" accurate, or is that are we giving you a little bit there?
Oh, no, man. 5'6" is accurate. Man,
Okay.
Listen, I get measured every year. I'm
Okay.
tired of it. 5'6" is accurate.
All right, I wanted to make sure. So at 5'6", and you mentioned the height. A lot of times, folks, your height. I'm sorry, your position are like 5'9", 5'10", that type of thing. Were you the type of player where people talking junk to you about your height? Were people trying to put you down because of it? Was that something you had to overcome as you were playing basketball?
You know what? It was at first that I did have to overcome. And my dad pretty much was like, listen, nobody really in my family is really that tall besides like my uncle. He's about 6'4". Everybody else is short. So my dad was like, look around. All right, look, you really got to work extra hard. And there's nothing wrong with hard work. And so it was like, I get out there on the court and I got the short. Hey, I'm posting her up. You know, I always used to get that. And I got to the point where he was like, listen, hey, you gotta hold your own out there. Hey, you can't just let people just talk to you any kind of way. You gotta work hard and show them what your game is about. And so as time go, like in high school, I always try to use my height to my advantage, and that's what I did. Even in high school, college, and in the pro, I'm like, hey, if I'm short, I'm gonna be quicker, I'm gonna be faster, I'm gonna be smarter than you, and that's what I did. But you know me. Anybody watch me play, listen, I'm going to put myself up there as like the top 2 trash talker women's player of all time. And I'm not, and let me tell you, I'm not 2. How about that?
Top 2 and I ain't number 2. Okay, I respect that. I respect that for sure.
Yes,
so
sir.
Where did the trash game develop? Did you mentioned you have brothers and uncles. Did the trash talk start with them first and just kind of carry? How did that all start?
Oh yeah, trash talk definitely started with my brothers and my sisters. I'm the last of 7. You know, I'm the baby of 7, so it's just like I always used to get away with everything. I always used to get them in trouble. So whenever we go outside and get ready to play, then that's when they like really knock me down and be trash talking. And then I always used to go cry in the house, and my dad was like, "Well, what are you gonna do about it?" My mom was like, "Stop crying, go back outside." So it developed right there, and it got real. I mean, it got real strong in the league because you really got to hold your own with those women. you know. But I did some trash talking at Carolina too, so it was cool, man. It's part of the game.
I think that was like one of the things that was so magnetizing about you is just like you could tell that you were out there fiery and everything like that, and it really came through on television. I do want to ask this though. These are things that we probably have never seen, or I don't know if anybody's ever talked about. But while you're at Carolina or even in high school, is there any men's player that you've played against that we know of at Carolina that you bust them up real quick while you guys are doing having a private workout in the gym, and you had to give them that work, show them what you could do?
No, man, it's not. But this is a cool thing though, and me being at Carolina, I used to work out with Raymond Felton.
Okay.
It would be like late at night. If it was like 1 or 2 o'clock, that's like the perfect time. 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. He would get trained by, some of the top people, and I would always be like, man, can I just come watch? I was just so fascinated because I love Raymond. He was from South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
When I played in the state championship, he was playing in the state championship as well with the boys. And I always like, man, you a bigger guard. Like, I always try to watch what he does at times and try to like put some of his game in mine. And I always used to watch him work out, but nah, man, I ain't never really got in there. I was like, yo, I'm about to school one of y'all. Like, nah. No, I never did that, man. No.
I mean, it would have been a dope story if you were just like, hey, one time we were playing, it was just like we were just hanging out, and I crossed him up. Didn't know if he could play the next time, because his ankle got hurt a little bit.
No, I don't have those stories though. I wish I did. That would definitely be cool, but nah, I didn't.
Has to be great, yeah, he can't play. He got hurt feelings because I screwed him. I mean, that'd been wonderful. Like, yeah, he's out. Why? Hurt feelings.
Yeah, questionable. Feelings hurt.
Yeah, poor
y'all are off the chain.
What was the connection like between the men's team and the women's team at UNC?
Oh, it was amazing. It was awesome. I mean, when I was there at school, when I tell you they supported us, even sometimes where, they would get back from a road trip, you would see them in the stands. I mean, they would support us to the fullest. I mean, it was awesome. We had a really, really close, great relationship. Like, we would go out to eat together. We'll do like laser tag. We'll go to like Frankie's. We'll just do like fun things together. It was always a great relationship with us, with the men's team, and also with the baseball team. Like, everybody was so cool,
Yeah.
Track team, like, we were just all cool. The football team was always there supporting us because football players think they can play basketball, and we would have to deal with them in the summer playing in Woodland Gym and be like, okay, guys, like, just stick to football. You can't be over here running through people and stuff like that. But I mean, I know with me, because of my personality, like, I had a great relationship pretty much with everybody.
Yeah, I feel like you're talking to me right now. I used to wrestle in high school, and then, every time we had a break from wrestling practice, we'd be like, yeah, let's show these basketball players what to do, and we'd be a little bit too rough. A little bit too rough. I do want to ask you this, though. During your time at North Carolina, outside of just basketball, what did you like to do for fun around Chapel Hill? What were your favorite places to eat? What were your favorite places to hang out? And, and was that, what kind of love did you feel when you're out in the community?
Listen, it was like the best love I've ever received by being, by playing basketball, to be honest with you. Favorite place to go eat, I love Sutton. Oh, okay. Man, you get them hot dogs, you get them hamburgers. I mean, you a college student, that goes a long way. Also, after those late workouts, you go to timeout, and you get that good old biscuit that you probably shouldn't be eating, but it was good at the time. You feel me?
Yeah.
And I think my fun time will be like in the summer. We'll be at Granville Towers, and we'll just be playing basketball out there with everybody. Like, even some of, like, regular students, if they was in summer school, they'd come play with us. And I love hanging on the wall right there in campus. Man, listen, it's not a place that you do not love in Chapel Hill.
Did you go hang out in Raleigh? Did you go hang out in Raleigh with your Carolina blue on?
I mean, I hung out everywhere with my Carolina blue on. I didn't care where I went. I'm just saying, if you're in Chapel Hill, I mean, that's baby blue heaven. You can just sit on a sidewalk and have a good time.
Yeah.
It's not a place where you be like, well, that's not a good place to go. We can't go there. It's like all the places, like everywhere. And now when I go back and I look, I'm like, wow, this place has really changed. I'm like, these apartments are nice. Y'all in apartments? I'm looking around like, oh, y'all got scooters?
It's not a dorm anymore. It's just straight up apartments now.
Man, you know what? I can just sit here and smile and say, hey, we did a great job of paving the way. How about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can say where I went to school, like, wow, that building looks really, really new. Hey, that building also looks really, really new. That dorm looks completely renovated. Oh, I bet they have hot water. I remember a time when there was no hot water in that building.
Oh my God, the dorm has a kitchen.
Yeah, right.
Ain't that just nice?
What wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Now, Chris just mentioned Raleigh, where NC State is. Did you ever, in your time, the big rivals with NC State and Duke, what was it like playing against those teams, those schools, not just at home, but when you had to travel to those places as well? Because Carolina's got that target on their back. You know why? Because it's Carolina. What was it like going to those places?
Let me tell you, I'll start with NC State first. I love playing NC State. Love playing, especially when it was at K-Yow. Man, it was always a dogfight. That game was never really like easy. Even if you see the score at the end, we may be up by 10 or 12, but it was a dogfight all 4 years against NC State. And I love playing there, but, you know, playing at Carmichael is historic. The greats that played at Carmichael. And I tell people, like, I even walk around and ask people, hey, you know, where did Mike play at? The Dean Smith Center. You're not a Carolina fan, man.
Carmichael.
You don't know the history. Exactly. And playing, like, NC State there in Carmichael, and it be, like, sold out. Unbelievable feeling. Now, let me tell you this. Y'all already know what I'm about to say about the Dukies. You know, I don't sleep before those games. I didn't sleep before those games. Those were the most exciting games, let me tell you. I actually love playing Duke. I love Carmichael. Carmichael is the best gym I can say I've ever played in. But I love playing at Duke because it's the feeling of just them not cheering and you're up and you're winning and they're so bad and they can't do the and you know, people ask me like, what is it like playing at Duke? I'm like, I can't even explain it. You have to find a way to experience yourself. You have to find a way to go to a Duke and Carolina men or women's game. You have to, it's a feeling that I cannot explain. But I know one thing, I didn't sleep before that game because you just be so excited and you know it's going to be on ESPN. So, you know, we had to make sure our hair was done, everything. You know, we had to be on point. We got to be right and get that win, too. So I love playing at Duke. The rivalry is like the best rivalry in sports history, pretty much.
So with the rivals, you rank Duke 1 and NC State 2nd?
You know, Duke is definitely number 1. When we have to go, I'll put NC State definitely in 2nd. Absolutely, yeah. Oh.
I just want to stir up the NC State fans because you know they always still want to be the number 1 rival to Carolina. They're kind of salty that Duke kind of replaced them at a certain point, like in the 80s.
They have, but check this out though. I'm still watching a lot of games, and I actually like NC State women's team.
They're great.
I do. They really are. I enjoy watching them in the tournament, and it was just like, oh wow, especially the little small point guard.
Yeah, Raina Perez.
She was still giving buckets, and I loved it. So you know, I can say that now, but back then, it was all Carolina.
And I want to ask you this, as far as like how women's sports has evolved from before you played at Carolina to when you played at Carolina to now, what do you like about how women's sports has evolved, how it's more so on the forefront than what it was before, and then where does it still need to grow?
Okay, yeah. To me, women's sports has definitely grown since I graduated in '07. A thing that I see, a lot of these girls are playing above the rim.
Yeah.
And the guards are bigger. The guards are coming out at 6'1", and I'm looking like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just had a basketball camp, and I had a little girl. I'm looking at her face to face. Yeah, I'm small, but she had to be like 5'9". I'm looking at her. She's like, yeah, I'm 13. I'm like, listen, I don't know what y'all drinking. This water y'all drinking or the food that y'all eating is different. But just the game itself, more people are engaging. More people are watching. And, you know, definitely God rest his soul. Kobe was really about to set the whole women game, you know, off. Like, literally. With his daughter playing, and the way he started supporting it, and the way he spoke about just women's players, like the fundamentals, how, you know, we're great at this, we're great at that, because we listen. You know, we don't think that we know it all as women. Like, we're growing each and every day on our game and just the knowledge of the game. And it can continue to grow more, I know, with as far as, like, the fan base. And, man, I'm seeing these NIL deals. I'm like, what? But I'm just so happy because I'm seeing a lot of women in the top 10 of earnings in the NIL. And I'm
Deja
just
Kelly.
Like, wow.
Deja Kelly is in the top 10 right now. Yeah.
Who you say who is?
Deja Kelly, current UNC player, UNC guard. She's in the top 10 earners.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, I love her. I love her game. Like, she's cold. She's ice cold. She's a Carolina Blue ice cold. I love her. I love her game. Absolutely. So now it's like, now y'all really can see what these women can do on the court. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a beautiful feeling. It's beautiful to see, and I'm extremely happy for them. Like, the game is just only gonna get better with the knowledge that we continue to gain. And these ladies, like, I've seen on Instagram, 2 more people just going up and just dunking like it's a layup.
Yeah.
And I had trouble even touching the net. I'm like, you know what? Y'all got it.
How much money would you have earned if you had NIL back then?
A meal or two. More.
Per year?
If I was per year, absolutely. I mean, come on, man. I'm remarkable. Like, come on. Are you kidding me? I'm just going to say it. I'm never going to short arm myself at all. That number 12 jersey would have been gone off the shelves. I'm not even going to lie. Absolutely. Easy. Like, are you kidding me? Somebody asked me that the other day. Listen what they did. They asked me, it was like, yo, if the NIL was back when you was playing, how much you think you can earn? They didn't even give me a chance. They was like, yeah, you probably would have had $1 million or $2 million. I'm like, well, you just asked me a question. Can I answer? Like, oh, absolutely. Easy.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see, especially back then in those days between Duke and Carolina, men's and women's basketball on both ends. That would have been crazy. And I guess my final question for you is Sylvia Hatchell. You know, you said that she was recruiting you early. What type of coach is she? And you know, how big has she been in your life to get you to where you're at right now?
Wow. To me, she's a great coach. She's a Hall, what they call a Hall, the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
She's a Hall of Fame coach. You know, being coached by her was great because my first year, you know, just coming in, I think I went to school, you guys. I think I was 115 pounds, if that. And that's me sweating. And she would always tell me, you know, I was getting knocked down at practice, knocked down in games. And she would always tell me, like, you get knocked down, you better get right back up and keep fighting.
Right.
And I always be looking at her like, what? Like, I ain't trying to lose a scholarship. What do you mean by fight? You know, I'm young. I don't know. You know, coach telling me, she's like, no, you keep fighting. And she always tell me, she's like, never give up. Never give up despite of what anybody tell you. She's like, you small. They going to try to say this and that. She was like, you keep fighting. And she always instilled, like, that extra killer instinct in me. I had one in high school, But when I got to college, it was like she just brought so much out of me that I really didn't know that I had. You know, I didn't know I really had that type of leadership. I didn't even, you're in high school, you just out there really just playing and you hooping. But that type of leadership, being able to lead a team to Final Fours, Elite Eight, ACC championships, she really brought so much out of me. She literally, outside of my parents, made me the woman that I am today. And even when I graduated, I still would call her on advice of, contracts overseas, Nike contracts, just different things, because not only was she that coach for me, she was like that second mom.
Yeah.
If I needed her outside of basketball, I could pick up the phone. She would say, "Hey, I'm in a meeting. I'll call you as soon as the meeting," or "I'll call you right after practice." I would be in Turkey, and she would still answer the phone like, "Hey, we're going into practice. I'll call you," and she would call me back, and we would talk about things, and it was like she was just so helpful. And still today, me and her maybe talk 2 times a week.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna always have that relationship, because, like, when I tell you, they really made me feel like I was at home. Like, okay, I'm away from my mom and dad, because I was a homebody, and they made me feel comfortable. I mean, it was like a family atmosphere. Also, having Charlotte Smith there, one of the greats.
Exactly.
Being coached by her, I literally had no choice but being great. When you got greatness around you, you tend to feed off the greatness that's there.
Yeah.
And Coach Hatchell, man, she was a great coach. I mean, she was funny. She's funny, but at the same time, she just tries to bring the best out of you at all times,
Well, this was amazing. I'm glad we had a chance to speak to you today. Thank you so much for your time. But my main thing is, why isn't anybody having you on their televisions right now? Because I need to see this personality on ESPN talk about some basketball.
Listen, say that one more time.
I said I need to see this personality on ESPN where you're analyzing basketball. Like, somebody need to have you on their TV right now.
Hey, listen, man, I know that's right. And to be honest with you, like, my goal is to get back into coaching. I would love to be a head coach. I think that's my calling, that's my passion. And I think it's definitely gonna happen. With me, I just leave everything up to God. But you gonna see this face. You gonna see this face soon.
All right, give us the exclusive when you come back in.
Oh, y'all can have the interview anytime, man. We locked in. We locked in. Y'all cool with me? We locked in.
Sounds good. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate having you. Be safe.
Hey, thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, we want to thank Ivory Latta for joining us for this week on the Culture State Podcast. And also, she mentioned getting back into coaching.
Yeah.
It'll be amazing if she is roaming the sidelines here in ACC country. Hey, maybe Courtney Bankhart needs a big-time assistant that can go out there and do some big-time recruiting. Who better to have than Ivory Latta? Or let's say Wes Moore says, hey, let's shake the table a little bit.
Oh.
Let me bring this former Tar Heel on my staff and do some recruiting that way, and then, like, kind of get the people in Chapel Hill a little. Or maybe Carol Lawson, a former WNBA player herself, more than likely played against Ivory Latta, brings her on the staff at Duke. That would be amazing as well. So hopefully we just see her in ACC country out here, and that would be something I'm rooting for.
I'm going to go conspiracy theory on you. She's going to get hired by one of the other ACC schools in the triangle, so Duke or NC State, but she's really going to direct kids to Carolina, so it's an inside job.
That sounds like it came from across the street at Western Boulevard. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening to the Culture State Podcast. We appreciate you guys for watching, for listening. Follow us on social media at Chris Lee TV, at The Fan Rookie, and at Culture State Pod.
Also, starting September 3rd, Culture State Saturdays are back live 10 to noon on 99.9 The Fan. You can stream it on WRLSportsFan.com, or you can watch us on WRL Sports Fan as well, WRL Sports Plus. You can watch us live 10 to noon. We might be coming to a football stadium near you, by the way. Talking to you, Greenville.
9322. Be there. We'll see you.
The Culture State Podcast, part of the Capital Broadcasting Podcast Network, with new shows coming out every Wednesday. Download and subscribe from wherever you get your podcasts, including the WREL Sports Fan app.